So if you're one of the people who watched part 1 of this video yesterday, I really do appreciate it. It got a bunch of views, and I really enjoyed the comments section and all the conversation that we had down there. It was really awesome. If you have not seen part 1 of this series, just keep in mind that this particular video is part 2 of a 2-part series. And what we talked about yesterday really sets up a lot of what's going to be talked about in this video, and I'm going to reference that video quite a bit. So I will put a link to that video in the description down below, and also up here somewhere there'll be a clickable that you can click and go check out that particular video, and then come back over and check this one out, obviously. With that being said, let's get into talking about why Ashes of Creation is going to be the anti-meta MMO.
What you think about when you're born into a fight?
So before I get started, I do want to remind you guys, if you do like this type of content, please go ahead and hit the like or thumbs up button. It really does help spread the video to a lot more people. Leaving comments also does a whole lot. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, I am going to be streaming over on Twitch pretty much this entire preview weekend we have coming up starting on Friday. So there will be a link to my Twitch in the description below. Come by. I'm going to be doing showcases for the different classes, the different biomes. We're going to be talking about all the different systems into the game. It's going to be a good time. So come follow me on Twitch and come hang out this weekend. It's going to be a great time. So in order to set up how this video is going to go, we need to talk about what is meta. What is that? What does that word mean? Where does it come from? What exactly is it? And meta basically means self-referential or referencing oneself. I'm not really sure how that word became the word that describes chasing after the best way to play the game. I've been racking my brain trying to figure out what the connection there is, and I'm not smart enough to figure it out. However, the internet doing what the internet does, they basically took a word that is not an acronym and made it into an acronym. And so the easiest way to understand it is the acronym that the internet made up for meta, which is most efficient tactic available. So that is what the meta is. Chasing the meta is chasing the most efficient way to play the game. It doesn't matter if it's a racing game and it's, what tire pressure setting and what gear to use to get around the track the fastest. If it's a first person shooter and, which weapon has the least amount of recoil or whatever that allows you to kill things the fastest. It doesn't matter. Anytime you're trying to find the most efficient way to do something, that is chasing the meta from a video game perspective. So why is Ashes of Creation the anti-meta MMO? Well, to start with, we need to talk about an MMO that is pro-meta or heavily steeped in the meta. And so we're going to talk about Elder Scrolls Online, a game that I've played a pretty good amount. Let's take an average Elder Scrolls Online player, and he has a Stamina Dragon Knight. That's the class that he plays, Dragon Knight, and he's going for a stamina build, a melee build, basically. That person can go and so let's say he wants to get the maximum DPS. That person can go to YouTube, type in Stamina Dragon Knight max DPS, and he might find a video from a guy called Hack the Minotaur. Hack the Minotaur is an awesome YouTuber who his entire channel is built around build guides for Elder Scrolls Online. And it doesn't matter what class you play, what way in which you want to play that class, PvP, PvE, solo, it doesn't matter. He even has builds for running around the world faster and collecting resource mats and crafting mats faster than every other possible build. It doesn't matter what you want. He has guides for that. So this guy can look, Stamina Dragon Knight, DPS, and he'll be able to watch a very long, very detailed video that explains what race he should use, what buffs he should use, exactly what food he should take, what potions he should use, exactly which skills and which morphs of which skills, where they should be placed on his hotbar, all the different set bonuses that he should have. And he even breaks it down by if you're a beginner, this is kind of a beginner set bonus. And then as you get into the game later, you can switch to this one. And this is a high-end set bonus setup or gear setup. So then that person can take that information from that video. He can go into Elder Scrolls Online, and the only thing stopping him from acquiring all that stuff is time and his own skill level. So from a time perspective, there is some RNG involved in Elder Scrolls Online gearing, and so he may have to run the same dungeon, 50 times in order to get the exact right piece with the right traits on it and stuff. But it's possible and it can be done. Then there is a specific bow that is pretty much the meta for every stamina build, and it requires you to do a very hard solo dungeon, and so you have to be able to do it by yourself. It's a solo dungeon. So from a skill level, that may stop him from getting there. But other than that, he can get there. And I think that there are 3 reasons why that is not going to be the case with Ashes of Creation. So reason number 1 is being locked out of skill augments. We talked yesterday about how we are going to be choosing our skill augments on a skill by skill basis rather than an entire school. So it's possible that the tank's onslaught ability, the meta augment for that skill, the best one available, will be from the Bard archetype, where the Bulwark ability, the meta ability, or the meta augment, comes from being in a guild that has less than 100 players in it. And so you can already start to see the problem. What if you're in a guild that has 300 players in it? What if you're in a guild that's trying to control castles and want to do all that stuff, but you want to have the most meta character? Well, you have to switch guilds. You cannot get that particular augment in the guild that you are in. Now, it's possible that your guild of 300 may break up into 6 50-man guilds in order to meet that requirement. But then you start getting into the problem of communication. You can only be in 4 alliances, or you can only have 4 guilds in an alliance. So you start getting into the situation where it's hard for you to even communicate with your own guild mates, and the game is not really designed for that to be done. Matter of fact, it's designed to stop that. So you're already at the problem where here's one meta ability you can't have. Well, then the next ability, the Lacerate ability, the best augment for that one is there's a specific military node up in the the northeast. When it reaches rank 6, a world boss spawns, a specific world boss spawns, that the only way to get that world boss to spawn is by getting that military node to rank 6, and then you go kill that boss, and then it has a chance to drop the augment that you need for your skill. What if that military node is not rank 6 on your server? What if there's a node right down just a 2-minute walk away, a scientific node that's ranked 6, and it's like the hub of the region, and nobody even really has any interest in taking it down because that's where a lot of people live, and it's where a lot of the commerce is going on, and it's months away from being a problem, big enough and being out there long enough for anyone to even be attempting to think about taking it down. And then once it does get taken down, there's no guarantee that the military node that you need to get to level 6 is going to get there, because it's possible that while you need that node to get to level 6 to get the one augment that you need, there is a rogue over here who needs the divine node that's right down the way to get to level 6. And of course, when they get to level 6, they block out all the ones around them from getting to level 6. So it's going to create this situation where you will not have access to the skill augments that are meta. Not all of them. You're not going to be able to build your character exactly like Bob the streamer told you is the best way to build your character. It could be locked behind your standing within one of the organizations, one of the religions. You may need to be at the top level of the religion, the number 1 person, to get the best augment for your particular class and the ability that you're trying to augment. Well, what if somebody's already there? He's already at the top, and he works hard to stay at the top. And so no matter what you try, you can't get past him. Maybe he gets to play 16 hours a day. So there's nothing you can do. You can only play 4 hours a day. You can't do as much religious questing and stuff as he can. So what are you going to do? You're locked out of that one. So you already start to see that your character is going to be locked out of some of the best augments, potentially, not always, but potentially. So the number 2 reason is being locked out of gear augments. And you run into the same situation here, where there are crafting recipes that are locked behind certain nodes reaching certain levels, and then crafters being a certain rank within those nodes and having citizenship with those nodes and all that stuff. So there may be a specific gear augment or a specific piece of gear that is the best in slot for your class and for the way you're trying to play the game, but you can't get it because that scientific node is only ranked 3 on your server because there's a big military node that has dominated the area. And again, you have the same problem where even if that military node gets taken down, there's no guarantee that the node that you need will be the one that gets built up in its place. So you are effectively locked out of gear augments. And there are also gear augments that will drop from world bosses. So it's the same thing there. The world bosses that spawn in the world are based on which nodes get ranked up to the highest level. So the one that you need may not exist on your server. And so what are you going to do? Reroll on a new server? They've already talked about how long it's going to take to max out a character. I don't think you're going to want to do that. And they've also talked about making it where you can only be a citizen of one node per account. So you couldn't even be a citizen of another node, which you're going to want to be a citizen of a node. So that's obviously going to lock you out of some gear sets that might be best in slot for your character. The third thing is the lack of information that will be out there. And the reason why I feel like there's going to be a lack of information is, and I'm looking at this from my own perspective, because I plan on having a theory crafting channel similar to Hack the Minotaur. I want to have a channel where I can talk about all the classes, all the different combinations, all the best ways to play the game. But I start to realize that there are so many things that are locked behind node progression and all of these things that we've talked about, being a citizen of a node. I'm not going to be able to have my alts be a citizen of a node. So they're going to be locked out of certain things that they're just flat out not going to be able to get. So how am I going to be able to make a video on making the best possible summoner when my summoner's not even a citizen of a node? He already has things he doesn't have access to. Not to mention the best possible thing may be, on a node that's not built up on my particular server. So I'm already thinking about how am I going to be able to present that information if I'm not even going to have it. I'm not even going to be able to acquire it, other than just watching other YouTubers that are maining those classes and repeating that information to them. So instead of having 50 YouTubers out there who can tell you all about every class, it's going to be very specific. You're going to have a YouTuber that you're going to go to for information about the tank class. And it may even be that he's going to tell you about the tank class on a specific server, because how is he going to tell you to go get this particular augment that you can't get on your server? So you can start to see how not everybody is going to be able to go and just automatically get all the best skill augments and all the best gear that is specifically the best for your character, that is meta. I'm not saying it won't be good. I'm not saying you won't be viable. I'm saying you won't be able to be meta necessarily. And as soon as that happens, as soon as you can't just go get the best thing, you start looking at what is the most fun thing, or what will allow you to counter this specific class that you're having a problem with. What will allow you to run faster in the world and go gather mats faster. All of these things that get pushed out of your mind because you are chasing the meta automatically come back into your mind. And now you're thinking about all of those things rather than specifically chasing the meta. And so for all of those reasons, I do believe this is going to be the least meta MMO. You are going to have so much variety and depth of builds. I didn't even get into the fact that any class can wear any weapon, wear any armor and use any weapon. So, there's going to be mages running around in plate mail with a sword, and there's going to be, I'm already playing around with using a wand on my tank on the Alpha 1 testing, because why not? I'm playing around with it, seeing how effective is it to have essentially a ranged tank. If we had a bow, I'd be playing around with that too. So when you start adding all of this diversity of options, there's so many different ways you can go about playing the game, and different augments and different things. And then there's a bunch of them that you don't even have access to and might not ever. And if you do, it may be months and months down the line, you're going to start finding other ways to play the game besides just chasing the meta. And I think that's going to make this a absolutely beautiful game for it. That's really all I have for you guys today. I'm working on a video to release tomorrow that's going to be kind of a primer of sorts for the Alpha 1 preview weekend that's coming up. It's going to tell you what to look out for, kind of explain some of the things that are going on in Alpha, also give you kind of my schedule and the way I'm planning on attacking content creation for this weekend that we have coming up. So make sure to subscribe to get that video, and I will see you guys in the next one.